that's his immediate angle. He's like, oh, my opponent is a woman. Oh boy, I've got this in the bag.
I like to think it's going to be history versus common sense. You guys can decide for yourselves.
Oh God. Oh God.
You know, it's funny because I was talking with my manager on the way over here and we were laughing a little bit because the irony of this debate is she would not be standing here, with all due respect. She would not be getting paid to debate me if not for feminism.
Lucky the leprechaun over here really thought he was cooking with this one. This is how you can tell when conservatives are pretending to be leftists for clout. Because they say the Fox News shit, and they just take the other side.
That's not an opinion, everybody. That's a fact. She would not have been paid to write her book if not for feminism and the people that work really hard to give her the opportunity to do that.
There were female authors before feminism.
Now listen.
Feminist stance here. There were female authors before feminism. That's not actually necessarily a given.
I don't care how much money she's getting paid. I don't care how much money her husband makes. The fact of the matter is that she wouldn't be here if not for feminism. Again, not an opinion, fact. I've never been called a feminist.
Like there have been women writers and women speakers for a very long time. No, that doesn't follow.
I've been called a lot of things by a lot of people. Never been called a feminist because I don't think I am one.
I believe you.
I'm just somebody that doesn't like to tell other people what to do with their lives, man or woman. Who am I to tell a woman, you should stay at home? You shouldn't be...
Well, I mean, you might be, working for the CDC potentially.
...in the workplace. You shouldn't have kids after 30. No. I want people to live their lives and do the things that they want to do because life is short. What right do I have, man or woman, to tell you what to do with your life? Now, I'm not really sure, and I'll ask Rachel this question. What does this country look like for her? Does she not want women to work at all? Does she want us to be a third world country?
Emily Bronte, Mary Wollstonecraft. Well, Emily Bronte is a weird one because Emily Bronte is actually largely read sort of as a proto-feminist in a lot of ways. And yeah, like she didn't rely on feminism, obviously, just given the timeline. And very popular writer.
Country like Afghanistan, where women are not allowed to work. Now, you're going to hear this word a lot in this debate. No, it's not going to be Donald Trump. But you're going to hear the word hypocrisy a lot. Because Rachel's made decisions in her life because of feminism. Rachel's had the opportunity to get out of a relationship.
Okay, can I just say, by the way, speaking of hypocrisy, and I am in no way a partisan of anything that Rachel Wilson is going to say in this debate. However, it is not refraining from telling women what to do to then point out all of the ways in which, oh, well, aren't you advocating against by even being here and so on and so forth. It's really weird to highlight the fact that your opponent is a woman as the crux of your argument. That's a weird decision, because you wouldn't do that if a man was arguing the same stance, which means you are actually weaponizing the subjugation of women in your argument against the subjugation of women, which, not a great look, actually.
Because of feminism. It wasn't even that long ago where women were in abusive relationships, but they weren't allowed to get out of those relationships. I don't care about someone's personal life. I don't care how many baby daddies they have. I don't care.
The irony, by the way, you're talking about abusive relationships, but he's with Unfuck America. He's working with, like, Destiny's group. It's like, come on.
How many ex-husbands they have. It's not my business. But in this debate, it is my business because she's telling other
But it's not, though.
People how they should live their life. Why is it okay for her to do that, but not others? I defer.
Emily Bronte initially published as a man, though. Fair. I actually didn't know that. Fair.
Thank you very much. Much for that opening statement. We're going to kick it over to Rachel for her 5-minute opening as well. Rachel, I have the timer set for you. The floor is all yours.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody, and being here. It's great to see so many faces, and all of you online watching, thanks for your support. Thank you to Andrew for giving me something beautiful to look at in the front row. A whole straw man
Andrew brought a picture of President Sunday to the front row with him for his wife's debate. That's weird.
opening is brand new for me, but that should be fun. So for my opening, the topic of the debate is, has feminism been good for women and children? I'm glad we're talking about this because the whole reason I do this is that feminism has destroyed the lives of children. So let's talk about the promises of feminism, what it told women and children it was going to do, how they got suffrage passed, how they got the whole agenda passed. It was supposed to provide women with safety, equality, and happiness. Let's look at the last 100 years and see if feminism has delivered on any of those promises to women and kids. So after no-fault divorce became kind of the law of the land starting in the 60s and spread across the country, we changed all of society. Prior to 1950, there were only about 2% of kids living with single parents in a single-parent home. Now that number is over 40%. Contrary to popular belief,
What else happened besides feminism in that time?
women were allowed
Just start a list.
to leave abusive and dangerous marriages prior to no fault. No fault divorce didn't mean no divorce. It just meant you have to have a reason. So in the year 19...
Okay, but by implication, then therefore, you could not have reason and therefore not be allowed to divorce.
1900 alone, there were over 55,700 divorces granted to women for reasons
Mary Shelley published anonymously. I knew that. I just didn't know that Emily Bronte. I'm not a big Bronte person, to be honest with you. I didn't know that Emily Bronte published as a man initially. I knew that she died like right after the book came out, though. That was unfortunate.
like abuse or abandonment. Now you can just get one because you're not feeling it anymore. So what we have is broken homes, and the effects of broken homes on kids are extremely well explained in the data across all the data sets, and they're very consistent over time.
It's generally like the weird angle where, hey, all these people are divorcing. Isn't that terrible? Divorce is often very bad, very messy. Sometimes it's the right decision. A lot of times it can ruin families and so on and so forth. But that's only if you're looking at divorce as the cause and not, for example, as a thing that happens in the course of other stuff happening. So maybe, for instance, families are poorer. Families are poorer, they're less educated, and so on and so forth, so they're getting into relationships that are under not optimal conditions, and then as a consequence of that, and not being well educated, they reproduce early before they think about it too hard, or they don't know how to use protection, or they have cultural prejudices against them, and now all of a sudden you've got kids, and you're in an abusive relationship, and you need to leave, and or you're in a toxic relationship that's not abusive, but it's still not good for you. Maybe.
That's the kind of irresponsible spending that causes so many business ventures to fail. You're forgetting the third rule.
At Taymustard620 super chatted $10. Unlimited power.
Thank you very much, Tay.
So after this big wave of divorce in the 80s and all the
My parents are separating. It's been a very healthy. It depends on the people. It depends on the people. In a lot of cases, it's a massive traumatic event. For kids, it can be a massive traumatic event. For adult children whose parents are in a prolonged toxic thing that's been dead for a very long time, maybe it's healing, okay? Depends on the people.
these newly single parent homes, children experienced a lot of destabilization in their lives, which put them at risk for everything you can think of. From, let's take a look at this. Fatherless homes account for children. 90% of kids who are homeless come from a fatherless home. 85% with behavioral disorders. 75% of kids in substance abuse treatment centers. 88% of kids who are committed to psych wards come from broken homes. If you look at abuse,
I like how we've switched it to broken homes for fatherless homes.
of all kinds, all the data sets show that kids who are living with a single mom and their partner are at the highest risk, more than 10 times more risk than children who are living with both married.
You know what's crazy? There's nothing about feminism that tells you to divorce your partner. At all. It is a part of feminism that you have the freedom to do so. Maybe the issue is not that people have the ability to leave broken relationships. Maybe the issue is that relationships are by and large being very, very easily broken, and or they are broken from go. potentially. Is she a conservative? Oh, very much so.
married biological parents.
Very much so.
Also for women, domestic violence didn't go away because of no-fault divorce. It shifted to cohabitative relationships. So the domestic violence rate dropped for
Domestic violence rates don't specify marriage.
married couples, but it skyrocketed for cohabitating couples. You are at 40%
Yeah, that's what happens when you diversify one category into multiple categories.
higher risk of getting abused by your boyfriend than you are your husband.
Okay, but that doesn't mean anything, though. That doesn't mean anything, though. Like, what? Why would that entail why would that entail anything?
If you live with your boyfriend. So much for safety, I guess.
That literally makes no sense as an argument. Hey, so when people could divorce and they could cohabitate and be common law without marrying, a whole lot of abuse then shifted to this other category that people could then be with less hassle. Like, yeah, of course. Especially since people, who are in situations of instability might be less likely to get married. Now, riddle me this. Is it the fact that they aren't married formally that's causing them to be abusive? Or is it the fact that they are in situations of high stress, maybe low education, maybe low resources? And then those people are less likely to take that extra performative step of being married when they could just cohabitate.
What about equality? Will men still do all the dirty, dangerous, difficult jobs? 92%
That's not true.
of all work deaths.
Every single like hard job I've worked, and I've worked some hard ones before, they've had women working in them. That's not true. There's women in the military. Did you know they can even vote now?
Are men. 90% of all infrastructure jobs, the essential infrastructure jobs that run everything you see here, are done by
You've never seen a woman city worker before?
men. Women get less
Who are you talking about?
time for the same crime. Men get 30% longer sentences. Women get 40% more probation than sentences for the exact same crimes as men.
Boo, feminism. Women are not sent to jail as much.
Single mother households dominate welfare. 85%
Like,
of
I'm sorry, if she's arguing that feminism is responsible for women being treated as deserving of less severe treatment than men, I don't know which feminist she is reading.
SNAP money goes to women, to single moms. And if you look at welfare and out of wedlock births on a graph,
Yeah, but you just mentioned their moms, though. Like, yeah, the men are taking off, the women are raising the kids, so they're getting food assistance because they have other mouths to feed. Like, the dad who ran away who's paying child support, presumably, hopefully, is not going to the food bank.
go up in tandem over the last 70 years together. So what about happiness? Are women happy?
No, nobody's happy. Life is miserable right now in your country. What are you talking about?
Well, unfortunately, no. We now have 26% of all American women are on at least one psychiatric drug. There's been 2 major studies done on
Why would you assume that's feminism and not, you have an insanely corrupt government that is allocating resources that need to go into education, health, and food and housing into blowing up other countries to create liquidity and American defense spending so that they can steal the money.
on women's happiness since sexual liberation. The paradox of declining female happiness and a follow-up study called the female happiness paradox, both
Jonas Sikas made a good point on the difference between liberal and socialist feminism. Liberal feminists want to be equally cruel to men and women, while socialist feminists want to abolish prisons. There are liberal feminists who want to abolish prisons, and there are a lot of liberal feminists who don't want to be cruel to men or women, so I don't think that's fair.
data sets across time,
They're liberals, so they suck, but I don't think that's fair.
culture, economic status did not matter. Women's happiness has decreased both absolutely and relative to men. So in summary, no, feminism didn't deliver on its promises. It hadn't made women and children safer or happier. It
literally never promised that. Feminism never promised to make women and children safer and happier. That is not, that never promised that. Where are you reading that from?
made them more vulnerable to abuse and exploitation.
Sunday, what is that advert? The ultimate system reset, purge the enemy within. Oh, it looks like they're advertising. It looks like Jilly Juice or something. You know when like those weird health guru weirdos like keep advertising like purging potions? Just drink this just insanely toxic salt-filled fluid, so you just shit yourself for 6 consecutive hours and then die. Like that's kind of what that's what they're advertising here, I guess.
By removing the men that have the
This
most.
is modern day debate, by the way. They accepted this ad. These people are so fucking soulless. I hate them. I actually despise. I don't like. I like modern day debate less than I like Destiny. Okay, you can quote me on that. I like modern day debate less than Destiny.
Most interest in protecting them, and that would be their own fathers and their own husbands.
Thank you very much for that 5-minute opening as well. We will jump into the rebuttals. These are 5 minutes as well. Brian, I've got the timer set for you. The floor is all yours.
The word would be hypocrisy. Rachel just talked about abuse, divorce.
Oh God, this guy is such a terrible speaker.
I want to be very clear with what I'm about to say. It is normally not my business to talk about how many children you have, how many ex-husbands you have. But when you have somebody to my left who wants to tell other women how to live their lives, I'm going
God,
to
he's like Irish-looking Wick.
bring this up, and I'm going to bring up some studies. Now, Rachel has 3 baby daddies. Why is that important?
That's not important.
Well, Guzzo and Firstberg study.
Ooh, where are you going with this, buddy?
I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to bring up some studies. Now, Rachel has 3 baby daddies. Why is that important?
There is literally no universe in which that is important to a debate on whether feminism is good for women and children.
Well, Guzzo and Firstberg study says that if you do have multiple baby daddies, the family has higher stress, more likely to have more mental health issues, the things that you claim that you care so much about. I do as well.
Right?
The Doria study, lower income.
You know what's crazy is whatever point you're making, you don't need to involve your opponent in that analogy.
And families most likely in children have a lower education rate. The Rutgers study, you just
But their family's rich, so whatever else can be said, Andrew Wilson's kids are going to have a top-notch education, probably. You know, unless they send them to some weird religious school or something like that, they're probably going to do okay. Obvious issues notwithstanding. So I don't know where you're going with this.
talked about physical violence. The Rutgers study, which, by the way, these studies have just come out in the last couple of years. You could look it up if you would like on your phone. By the way, you want to go back to 50 years or 100 years ago, then why do you use a cell phone?
What?
I'm just curious. Why do you use a cell phone? You can laugh, but if you want to go back to the way things were 50 or 100 years ago, we were a slavery nation. Are we still a slavery nation now? Do you want to go back to slavery? Should black people be allowed to vote? I'd love
What is happening right now?
you to answer those questions. But anyway, going back to that Rutgers study, if you have multiple baby daddies, there's a much higher rate. In fact, a 24%.
This man has notes. He prepared for this. This is something he prepared for. This man was up all night long and he thought he was cooking.
Higher risk of physical violence and sex abuse. A Halpern study,
Okay.
among other studies, you're likely to be below the poverty line if you have multiple baby daddies. Now, you might tell me right now, and I would believe you, if you said, I got through it, my kids grew up to be great people, and I would say, I'm happy for you. I think that's great. But why is it okay for you, but not okay for them? Why is it okay for you to say, well, you know what, I made some, maybe you won't say it was a mistake. I don't know.
I don't think she's saying it was, they didn't have the right to, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
I'll ask you. But why would it be okay for you hypothetically to say, I made some mistakes, but, you know, Everything turned out okay. My kids turned out okay. Why can't other women use those same excuses if they have kids after 30? Or if they want...
I mean, a lot of them don't turn out okay. She mentioned, like, big examples of kids that don't turn out okay. Now, that's not a valid argument against feminism, but, like, a lot of them don't turn out okay. That's the point.
their own career. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom with kids, I think that's great. Go ahead and do that. But if you want to be out there in the workforce and be a doctor or a lawyer, you should be allowed to do that too. And Bible thumpers shouldn't be telling you what you should or shouldn't do. That's exactly what you do, Rachel. So I'd like you to explain to this audience right now why it's okay for you to have 3 baby daddies, why it's okay
Stop saying baby daddies.
for you to take those risks and those studies that I just mentioned for your kids, but why is it not okay for everybody else?
We will switch over to Rachel for her 5-minute rebuttal. Got the timer set for you, Rachel. The floor is all yours.
So what you just heard was amateur hour of somebody who does not know how to make an argument, somebody who doesn't know what a debate is or how to
Ad hominem
have a
attacks.
debate.
Oh God, those aren't ad hominem attacks. That's not how that works.
You can't
Ad hominem
interrupt.
That's not an ad hominem. I mean, it is an ad hominem, but it's not an ad hominem fallacy. Who cares? Just say they're insults. Stop saying ad hominem. You sound like a moron. Ad hominem fallacy is when the insult is the argument. She's allowed to insult you. Oh my God.
attacks.
You can't.
Well, you can't interrupt during the
No.
Yep, go ahead.
Again, amateur hour. This is the person who did the ad hominem attacks. He didn't present an argument. He just said, "What about you?" He used a tu quoque fallacy. What about you, though?
The Wilsons should have never been allowed to learn logic terms at all, just as a rule. Okay.
This debate has nothing to do with my life or your life or my
it does.
personal life or your personal life.
We got to mute you.
Okay.
You're going to interrupt.
Control yourself, Brian.
Yeah.
Sean, please mute Brian.
Staggering lack of self-control. So again, another fallacy, a straw man fallacy. My argument was not that I can tell women what to do. My whole entire
It also wouldn't matter if she was a hypocrite. That's the key point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to a debate. It has no bearing.
opening was just explaining what has happened to society in general, going over data. There was no condemnation of working mothers. There was no
Both these people are stupid. Rachel Wilson isn't stupid. She's wrong and she's ideologically possessed. She's not stupid. Big mistake assuming that because someone makes bad arguments that they're stupid. This guy, however, this guy is stupid.
condemnation of women who need to leave abusive relationships like I did. There was no, we need to go back to slavery, which was 50 years ago, I guess. Again, not sure how this person is employed in media, but
Rachel not exactly hitching this up out of amateur hour. Rachel's giving the performance I would expect virtually from any kind of influencer at this scale. If you had Taylor Lorenz giving doing a debate, I'd expect the same level, basically. Better arguments, hopefully, but the same level.
all that aside, he did not address any of the arguments I made, which were that, actually what he did was support my arguments by saying, yeah, when families are broken up, it's bad for kids. When we see divorce, rampant divorce, children raised in single household families, it's bad for kids. Yes, it is. Now, if everyone was only getting divorced in instances of abuse or abandonment, we would see divorce rates much closer to numbers that we had prior to no fault. You would see, if you look at surveys, the reasons for divorce, things like legitimate physical abuse are very far down on the list. They're usually like 4th or 5th. The number one reason is irreconcilable differences. I fell out of love. Mr. Johnson down the street makes me feel sexy. I need to find myself. And the kids are resilient and they'll get over it. What I'm against is this frivolous breaking down of families to chase personal happiness. The kids don't get over it. We have massive studies.
Irreconcilable differences usually have to do with the fact they're fighting constantly. They're fighting constantly. That's usually what that means. It's usually they are really, really dysfunctional, and it takes a toll on their mental, physical, and material health. That's why. And that's not nothing. And forcing those people to stay together is not going to remove abuse rates and is not going to fix those outcomes. That's silly.
Studies on what happens to children after divorce. And as Brian brilliantly laid out, it's very bad for kids. We see the worst outcomes for children coming from broken homes. So the argument is not no one can get divorced. The argument is divorce should only be permitted for very good reasons. That was the historic norm for the church. I'm not saying that women can't work outside the home ever. I'm saying that mothers already have a full-time job and that pushing them to work outside the home, creating the two-income trap.
Let's entertain that for a second. Mothers already have a full-time job. Okay, so you think maybe a problem with why, for instance, so many households break up could be economic? Like maybe you have a problem when people are making less and less money and they can afford less and less food, less and less, and lower quality housing, if even housing at all. And on top of that, one adult partner to the relationship is already working a full-time, non-paying job. You think maybe that's a factor?
That's been laid for us by feminism reduced women's choices. It didn't give us more choices. There was never a time when women were not allowed to work. It just
There literally was, though.
wasn't the norm because women already had a full-time job.
No, that was literally the case.
Especially prior to the birth control pill in 1965, when most women had an average of 3 to 7 kids, depending on what time frame you're looking at. That's a full-time job. It didn't make sense to send women out to do men's jobs. It didn't make any sense to push them outside the home and force them to work.
Next, they were property.
And now women like me who want to stay home struggle and find that they can't and find that they have to work when all they really want to do is be at home raising their own children, and they're forced to try to outsource that, which is why most women only have 1 or 2 children anymore. You can't afford to put 5 kids in daycare. So we have very small families, we have lower birth rates, and we have unhappier women who are now trapped in a different set of bad circumstances with abusive cohabitating partners instead of a husband who loves them and takes care of them. We're trapped in this two-income trap.
Like, it's weird because, like, marriage bars. She doesn't know what a marriage bar is. There was a time when there were policies that disallowed women who were married from having certain jobs. Like, big thing in the 30s. Big thing in the 30s. No, it is not simply the case that women could just work commensurately with men. That's not the case. Women always did work, but paid work is different. Paid work is different.
We have women who are trying to juggle everything and balance everything and are struggling to do that, and they're reporting higher levels of anxiety and depression. I'm not here to condemn women. Brian's here to condemn me personally, apparently, which is the actual ad hom argument. If he had an actual argument rather than just pointing at me, that would be fine. But if all he's here to do is say, well, but you got divorced because you were in an abusive marriage, that's
It's weird too, because like she's putting down so much you could actually combat, like really effectively. And it's go like, hey, you haven't actually isolated feminism as the cause of this, and I'm pretty sure that the thing you are attributing, well, I'm pretty sure you're not talking about feminism at all. You're talking about the situations of men and women and children under modern capitalism and under contemporary circumstances. Where's the feminism, please? Is it just that they're allowed to divorce? Because I don't think you could sustain the argument that if you made divorce more difficult, that these societal ills would correct.
Actually not an argument. It supports my argument that you should be able to get out of abusive marriages, and you were. You were actually able to get out of abusive marriages prior to no fault. No fault means you don't need a reason and the other party does not have to agree. And that's where I think that we went wrong.
Thank you very much for that rebuttal from Rachel. We're going to...
Can you imagine not calling a relationship in which one partner is refusing to allow you to legally leave, not calling that abusive? Like, just think about that for a second. It's also a bit more complicated than that, because litigating a divorce when you can't just leave a marriage is expensive. Who has the money in a relationship in which women aren't able to work as much? And you see the entire edifice start to crumble. It's really obvious. Is this dipshit going to be able to connect any of these dots? Probably not.
So we're going into the 40-minute crossfire or open.
Sunday, would I be correct that due to the manner in which the debate is constructed, the only thing the guy has to do is fill time? It's on Wilson to effectively rebut it? No. No. He actually has to make a really strong case against her because Rachel Wilson is not dumb. Rachel Wilson actually has a pretty good presentational style. And his job is not to convince Rachel. His job is to look confident and to give a coherent account that will stick so that nobody in the audience who is already on his side doubts. Because nobody at all is getting turned to his side in this debate. The only direction anyone is going is towards Rachel because Rachel is the underdog position. It is not a popular stance. So his job is to look like he can know what he's talking about. And oh my, it's so bad. He's not gonna do it. Oh God. Oh, I just realized where this is gonna go. Look at his posture. Look at his body language. Sorry, I'm gonna be all weird for a second. Look at this guy's body language right now. Those shoulders. He is taut. Oh, he's going. This is gonna go bad.
Dialogue. I'm going to trust you guys, but if there are interruptions, I do have to jump in and break it into 90-second responses. So, handing it off to you. The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, for somebody that wants to stay home, you're certainly out a lot
Oh no. Oh no.
debating people, so I really don't understand that argument.
Look at his pallor right now, okay? Look at how red he is for 1530 compared to here. Am I the only one seeing this?
Debating people.
He's like flushed.
So I really don't understand that argument.
Like it's his neck, it's not his face. Like look over here, right? Back here? Yeah, maybe it's just a shadow. Maybe I'm just seeing it, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, okay?
Well,
number
are you
one,
aware of the, well, let me
was
address that,
was that
since
10
this is
seconds,
the back and
or
forth.
Can I just finish?
Well, this is
'Cause
the back
that
and
was
forth.
I know, but that was like 10 seconds.
But you already got it wrong. So my
Okay,
children
well,
are...
you got everything wrong.
My
Oh God.
children
got
are
everything
grown.
wrong.
No, I got everything right.
I know they're grown.
They're
Can I
grown
just
up
finish?
and out of the house.
Can I just finish?
So
Okay.
I've never
I
said
finish?
that women can't leave the house when their kids have grown.
Let her interrupt and then continue your thought and ignore what she says. That's how you handle interruptions. You never ask, can I finish? Unless the audience hates them. Unless you have confidence that the audience hates your opponent, never ask, can I finish? And never be mad about it. Be like disappointed. Can I finish, please? Never. Oh, God.
Grown up and left, and that they can't.
Do you
like,
believe women should be allowed to vote?
Do you think women are chained to the kitchen? Do you
I'm
think
asking you a
chained to
question.
the
Do you
kitchen?
think women should be allowed to vote?
I think it would be better if women and many other groups didn't vote. I would.
This is like such a downhill battle he has. And he's breaking down. Like, you're playing on easy mode, dude.
Categorize women as one of the groups that should not. Yes.
Is there any other demo that shouldn't be allowed to vote, or is it just
Yeah,
women?
I think there's a lot of different ways that you could limit suffrage that would make everything a lot more.
And he's thinking like, ooh, I've got her. Now the audience knows that this person who's married to someone who used to go by the name Big Papa Fascist isn't very liberal. It's like, yeah? Nobody cares. We know this already. You're not shattering our skulls with this revelation.
More fair and a lot more efficient. I think that if you're taking more from the system than you get, so that would be a great way to limit suffrage. You'd have to be
Also, why is he wearing a flat cap to a debate? Take your hat off, man. It's okay if you're bald.
at zero taxpayer. You
You
can't
look bald with the hat on anyways.
be taking more than you're getting. So if you're getting more in SNAP benefits and welfare
So
than
voting
you're paying.
should be based on how much you pay in tax.
If you're getting more on SNAP benefits than you're paying, that's what they're for, though. It's the point. If they could pay for them, they just pay for food.
Or if you pay
It should
taxes.
be based on whether you are contributing to the system or not. If you're taking more
SNAP benefits should be based on whether or not you can pay for the food without the SNAP benefits.
Then you're contributing. No, you shouldn't be having a voice in governance. You should also have to take.
Oh, I see. So you can't vote if you have SNAP. Okay. Well, that's dumb. That's dumb. What if you're part of a demographic that's low income and starving because of policies people voted on? You can't now vote to fix those, so only people who aren't affected negatively by those policies can vote? That's stupid.
A civics test proving that you have some rudimentary understanding of how our government works.
A lot of people would.
That's fine. I actually don't have a problem with that one. I don't have a problem with that one. There actually should be a basic test saying, hey, match these names to these faces before you vote. And if you can't match this name to this face, your vote doesn't count. That's dumb, but you get what I mean.
Wouldn't vote for Donald Trump if that was the case. But anyway, so you don't think that women should be allowed to vote? You don't think women should be allowed to vote? At least if they're.
Would you like me to explain why?
No. Do you know why?
I would actually. Let her explain.
Birth rate is so low?
No.
You don't really? You just want to wipe your nose and just ask about the birth rates?
He doesn't want me to explain.
Well,
I will anyway.
I find it interesting that you want to take away one of the most fundamental rights of a woman, which is being able to vote. By the way,
the most fundamental rights of a woman is being able to vote? Why did they only get that in the last century then? That doesn't make any sense.
Women are, I think you're aware, bringing children into this world.
Not enough.
Well, yeah. Why? Why is that? What's the number one reason why women aren't bringing children in?
Poverty and birth control.
Do you want to know, like, the actual correlate?
No.
Poverty and birth control. People are too poor to have kids, and or they are able to avoid having kids, and so they don't, even if they can't afford it, because it's a massive inconvenience if you want to do things with your time besides raising kids.
No, I want to know the polls of the last 2 years, and women have asked, because I have the studies right in front of me right here. What is
That's
the
the kind
number
of
one?
irresponsible spending that causes so many business ventures to fail. You're forgetting the third rule.
At Lissiza Blogger super chatted $2. Remember literacy tests.
I'm not that old. No, I don't.
Reason, Rachel, why women aren't bringing kids into this world in the last 2 years. Do you know the reason for that?
I can tell you what the actual data says. The data says that the number one correlate to declining birth rates around the world in every culture, regardless of income or religion, is women's access to higher education and pushing them into the workforce.
Not true. So according to the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health.
Okay, but what is pushing them into the workforce? Why are they being pushed into the workforce? Why is anyone pushed into the workforce? Cost of living. You now need 2 incomes at the average wage to have a basic standard of living. It's economics.
Which have been polled for the last 2 years. They've done it 8 times. The Johns Hopkins
I
School
have not a particularly high income. My partner is not a particularly high income. But together, we're okay. We're kind of comfy. It's been a bad year, but we're kind of comfy. We're kind of okay. We can survive. We can save a little bit. By ourselves, same level of income each? No, life is now very expensive. We're not living in nice conditions anymore. This guy clearly has never held an actual job. Like, this guy's actually just obviously some weird fail to launch rich kid of some boomer parents somewhere.
Public Health, I'll take their word over yours. They say the number one reason why women don't want to bring children into the world is something called the economy, Rachel. Now let's talk a little bit.
No, it's not because of the economy. They don't say it's because of the economy. They don't want to bring children into the world because they have to pay for them. That's different. They have to pay for them, and they have to stop doing whatever else they're doing in order to raise them. They're not saying the economy. It's not because they're looking at the future and going like, oh, line not go up, me not have baby now. It's because they can't afford it. Most people don't pay attention to the economy.
Bit about the economy
What's
real
that?
quick. Hold on. Let's talk a little bit about that.
That was pretty good.
Let's talk a little bit about.
Rachel is not dumb. She has wit. You need to not presume your opponent is dumb just because they have a dumb argument.
About that, Rachel.
Okay.
Why are people losing their medical coverage? Why are people losing their food stamps? Is it because they're just lazy and they don't want to work?
Okay,
You see, because
we're doing another straw man argument
it's a straw man.
yes, because
everything's a straw man argument.
I'll explain how you're wrong.
Yeah, I'll explain why you're wrong.
The only people who
She wasn't. I don't think she was complaining about people having food stamps. I think she was saying that was a sign of low prosperity, and I think the argument was that people who are on food stamps, which is a dumb argument, shouldn't vote. You should contribute to be able to vote, which is silly. Like the slavery example is actually a great case in point. If you have people who are impoverished because the society in question actually directly, violently discriminates against them, they're probably going to have lower income. They're probably going to be disproportionately on food stamps if those are available. Can they then not vote to enact policies that make them not have to be on food stamps? That's stupid. But that wasn't her argument. Her argument was her argument was that. Her argument was not that, oh, food stamps bad.
do have replacement birth rates are the poorest people. So if it was economics, we wouldn't see that the only people having children.
See, the problem is, like, this guy needs to know his stuff, and he doesn't know anything. This guy's a boob. He's so dumb. He is so dumb. He's actually significantly dumber than Rachel. He's probably less progressive than Rachel, too, and that's a conversation some people are probably not ready for. He is actually, to be honest with you, Rachel having a set of extremely regressive views and being essentially tyrannical in her outlook in terms of how the state should treat people on the basis of their gender, would probably not go into a debate talking to a woman and immediately go, oh, well, you can't talk about that. You have breasts. Go, like, you're, you know what I mean? That's his immediate angle. He's like, oh, my opponent is a woman. Oh boy, I've got this in the bag. Don't you belong in the kitchen? This shit writes itself. It's incredible. It's incredible. There's also the slight problem that Rachel's position is the more modern one and therefore carries the inherent value proposition in the argument. I don't know about that. I think the main thing is that Rachel is actually able to come across as likable, even, like, despite her incredibly bad arguments. She's able to come across as likable. This guy is making a valid point about hypocrisy that nobody gives a shit about and just looks awful. He looks awful. It's like, aren't you telling yourself that you aren't you saying that, aren't you advocating for your own subjugation? It's like, yeah, she is. And she thinks it's a good thing. Was there a step 2 to this formula?
Would be the poorest among us, and
Has to be a plant? Nah, he's just a loser. Just a dumb loser.
historically, everybody has had children during times of
So it's because of
much
poor
worse
people.
poverty.
You're saying the reason why is because poor people can't bring people into the world.
No, I'm saying
So,
listen very
I'm
carefully and try to
listening.
understand.
I'm listening.
Poor people actually bring more people into the world.
I'm listening.
The poor people are the ones having the babies. So
Yes, that's such a weird...
people who have the
So-
resources are opting out because they think their job is more important, because they want to take vacations,
So-
because they want to pay for a second
So
vehicle
when the people
and a
that
bigger
aren't
mortgage.
poor are polled and they're saying that the reason why they're not having kids is because of the economy.
It's
Are they
because they are
lying?
prioritizing a higher material standard of living, yes.
So what has changed then in the last...
Materialism.
So
Atheism
what
and
is-
materialism.
Okay, so you think it's atheism?
It's
You think it's
atheism and
because they don't
materialism.
believe in God, and
It's
that's the
because
reason why
they're
they're not having children?
prioritizing having stuff
Right.
and having a career over
So,
having
so
a
what
family.
should we do about that? What do you think?
Well, it's like, how about their kids having stuff? How about they're realizing that if they have kids, they and their kids will not have stuff. Stuff is actually very important to having a basic quality of living. Stuff includes clothes, food, TV, internet, comfortable bedding, heating, air conditioning, whatever. What does she mean by materialism? Well, she imagines that materialism means that you just think there's that the world's just made of stuff and there isn't any woo-woo stuff above it that points to it and goes, yeah, that's really cool and that's really bad. That's what she thinks materialism is.
Do you think taking away health care and
I think what we
food
should
stamps
do about
is
that,
the right
I'll
thing
tell
to
you
do?
what we should do about it is what I'm doing right now, what Andrew does all the time, which
Is YouTube?
is explain why atheism is retarded and why you shouldn't hold to secular materialist worldviews that have no grounding, that have no fundamental basis for morality, and lead you into deaths of despair, and lead you into an antinatalist position where you won't even reproduce
You know
yourself.
what? I think you saying that makes you.
I mean, you don't actually reproduce yourself when you reproduce. Your children don't look like you. You will notice.
Retarded. So first of all,
See, this guy's so fucking weak. Look at this.
Even reproduce
you know
yourself.
what? I think you saying that makes you retarded.
I think you thinking that was a good comeback means you are like Marv from... Actually, he kind of looks like Marv. You are Marv from Home Alone levels of dumb. I'm going to call him Marv from now on, okay? He's not Brian Shapiro. He's Marv. He's Timu Marv.
So first of all, to use that word and to call...
She's destroying him. This is unbearable. She is destroying him, and what the best part about this... I'm probably not going to like do alien isolation tonight, by the way, guys. I am so tired. I'm not even speaking properly. She loses this debate, by the way. By default. Nobody wants the world that she is proposing. But this guy can still lose, even if she does too. This is a good editor. This is a good thumbnail shot, by the way, editor.
Oh, no, it's not cool for her to use that word. To say that just because we don't believe in what you believe, that people are retarded. Because
Bro, that's retarded.
Oh my God, he's trying to walk it back. He's trying to walk it back. He's trying to go, no, I didn't say retarded. She said retarded. I was just quoting her.
I think you saying that makes you retarded. So first of all, to use that word and to call... No, it's not cool for her to use that word.
Because she's a woman, of course.
To say that just because we don't believe in what you believe, that people are retarded. Because...
Bro, that's retarded.
Okay, good. So let me be very clear, okay?
Okay.
Everybody has the right to believe in what they believe in. Everybody has the right. You can be a Christian, you can be an atheist.
Do you think this guy realizes how bad he looks, or is he just that gone?
To call people retarded because they don't believe in the religion that you believe in,
how
or they
dare
don't believe
That's what you did, though, sir.
Yeah,
in
I
God
know. Oh,
is
how
so
dare
beyond
I.
absurd and bigoted in
It's
nature. It's
retarded?
ridiculous.
Is that what you're saying?
It's ridiculous. No, I think you are. So what I was going to say,
where's your argument? Do you have an argument?
What I was going to say, just be quiet. Make Andrew a sandwich and be quiet.
This guy is curling up his toes and punching himself in the face with his own feet.
So
that's pretty misogynistic.
20 million. Andrew, do you have a cigarette? Because I need one right now.
Wow. This guy just seethes about the Wilsons. That's his entire debate strategy.
So listen.
I know it's got to be embarrassing getting your butt whipped by a housewife.
Yeah, you're kicking my butt, Rachel.
She really is, though. I mean, not really, to be honest with you. Like, she kind of is, but you've kind of, already knocked yourself over and spread your cheeks for her. I don't know what to tell you.
Calling everybody retarded because they don't think like you is a wonderful argument to make. So.
But you just did that back.
20 million people in this country have lost their health care because of what is in the big and beautiful bill. Millions of people have lost their food stamps. And while people that are sitting over there think it's funny that people in
this isn't the Trump debate. Who cares?
Country are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, many of those people can't afford to have a child. And if they have multiple children, they have to work 2 jobs.
No, because here's the argument that she'll fire back with, and it's a shitty argument, and it's unpathetic, and it's nasty. But here's the argument: actually those people can cut down on restaurants and food and bed and TV and so on and so forth, and they can live in absolute misery and austerity while they devote all of their energy towards paying for a kid that they can't afford to pay for. And we'll just ignore the fact that, you know, they'll be awful. The kids will have a terrible childhood, and the parents will be resentful and exhausted and miserable and probably hate each other, and they'll be stuck in that relationship because divorce has been made illegal. So their kids will grow up their kids will spend every single weekend of their childhood dreading to come home on the weekend, because their parents will be fighting. That's what will happen.
They have to work 3 jobs. Now, what happens if a woman hasn't met the right man and she's in her
Like
30s?
that's just, he literally just had to not be a dipshit. That's all he had to do to win this. Just go like, oh, all that stuff you're talking about, yeah, that's not feminism. That's widespread economic hardship. Boom.
30s. What does she do there? What happens if a woman is a single woman trying to raise children? What is she supposed to do to raise those children? You know, the people who
I don't think she argued against food stamps, though, dude. She argued they couldn't vote or shouldn't vote.
you support are against unemployment benefits, they're against maternity leave, and they're basically against every government program.
I don't think she's against maternity leave. I think she's for permanent maternity leave.
That would help that mother raise that child. These are the people that you support. So while you can call people,
But that would be the argument she'd be making. She'd be arguing that, oh, like, look, women need maternity leave, therefore they shouldn't be working in the first place. I disagree with that. That's the argument she would make.
Retarded for simply not agreeing with your religious beliefs. You're mocking me for making arguments, and yet you want to insult everybody that disagrees with you. Let me be very clear. I
Okay,
support, wait, hold on, 10 seconds.
At some
10
point,
seconds.
I have to be able
okay,
to
at some point you will. Finish the sandwich. So the point
What a gross little creature.
that I was trying to make was, I want everybody to believe in what you want to believe in. I'm not going to call you retarded because you don't want to be Christian, because you don't want to be Jewish. By the way, I'm not an atheist. I do believe that there is a higher power. I just don't consider myself an extremely religious person. I would
Yeah, I know you're dumb.
never call you all retarded because you don't believe in the same religion that Rachel believes in. I don't live my life based on a
This
book.
has to be the most uncharismatic man I've ever seen. Firebat Moggs this person just in terms of aura. Whoever knows who that is.
You can. I choose not to. That doesn't make me
Which is not complimenting Firebat, by the way. Oh, I wish Aiko was here for this. That'd be fun.
retarded. It doesn't make you retarded. I know a lot of very intelligent people.
Lights are on, but nobody is home. Oh, somebody's home. Somebody's home. They're like alarm bells going off everywhere. He doesn't know what any of the buttons do.
That do not believe in God. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It doesn't mean they're retarded. That is not an argument, Rachel. You're insulting millions and millions of people in this country
Are you
that
done?
don't
She knows.
believe in what you believe in. Go ahead, Miss
Okay,
Retard, go ahead.
so
Oh God, it's like. Does he act? I don't know how to put this gently. Does he actually have like? Is this someone who has, you know, the full command of their faculties?
that was yet another straw man
Oh, another
ad
straw.
hom, not an argument, because, and I'll explain why. You know how long the birth rate has been below replacement levels? Any idea?
I'm sorry, are you asking me a question?
Yes.
What was the question?
How long have birth rates been below replacement
I'm
levels?
going by the last
Probably since the 60s.
2 years, according to the John
How
Hopkins School of
long?
Public
Answer
Health.
my question. How long have the birth rates been below replacement?
The data I have are the last 2 years.
Okay, he doesn't know, so I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
so tell me.
It's been for about
No, 70s. I was close.
50 years.
Okay.
So was Trump to blame for the birth rate being below replacement in
didn't
the
say that.
1980s?
I didn't say that.
Okay, what caused it then? What time? During the prosperity of the early 90s, when we had
okay.
one of the best economies
respond.
we've had,
I'll respond.
why was the birth rate below replacement then?
Sure. So I'll answer that, but I'll start by saying this.
Birth control. Like, I mean, it's actually more than that. It's okay. What have we got here? What are the actual arguments? I don't want to talk out of my ass. Oh, this is aggregating across like globally though, so that wouldn't count. I would just assume birth control and just better access to, you know, education, career prospects, and so on and so forth. So people are making longer term decisions about when to have kids.
I don't know what's so funny. I have the study.
The economy being good doesn't make being a 20-year-old single mother a dandy proposition. Especially when your working and career prospects are heavily limited.
The last 2 years. Now, I didn't bring up the study for why the birth rate was lower 50 years ago. And the reason why I didn't is in my opening monologue, what I told everybody is that I care about what's going on in this country.
But I just
Oh God, he's so dumb. He is so dumb.
right
your point.
now.
Why are you debating is feminism good for women and children if you don't even know the history of feminism, like even just chronologically?
my point disproves your point.
What are you talking about?
You
It's
said
the economy
you
right
said,
now.
You said
right now.
yes. You said the reason women
Yes,
are
which is the product of what? Which is the product of what?
Right
having-
now.
Yeah, you
Right
said
now.
the reason is this.
Right.
I'm telling you, it's been this way for 50 years, so it can't be anything that's happened in
I
the
just
last
gave
2
you
years.
why women are not having children
Are you not
now.
able to follow
Are
logic?
you not able to listen to logic? I just
That's
told you.
not logic.
I just told you right now the reason why women aren't having kids now. Now I know you care about 50 years ago. I care
No,
about
I'm
right
talking
now.
about consistency over
Okay,
time.
and right now the number one reason is the economy. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Why don't you pay attention?
What I'm
Why
trying to
don't you
explain
listen?
to you is that even in the 90s, when the economy was at its best, women were still not having more
And
than
times change and people change and women have different opinions
What I'm
of why
telling
they're
you
doing
is
different things.
this disproves your
Yeah, he's realized how deep a hole he's in. This is so bad. This is so bad.
it
theory.
doesn't.
You can take one survey.
It doesn't.
What you have is one survey. How many people
In
were
the 90s, the economy was good. I mean, for some people, it was very good.
asked the question in the survey?
I have it right here. 18,000.
18,000.
Yes, 18,000.
And they
John Hopkins.
Right. So you don't think that it could be the case that when they say it's the economy, they're not saying we're starving. They're saying, look, I want to go on a cruise every year.
Told ya. Frickin' told ya.
I want that second vehicle. I want a higher standard of living,
Wait,
and
hold on,
I
let
would
me-
prefer.
It's actually literally, no, I'd rather be able to go to restaurants every now and then and, you know, not have shitty food in my tiny apartment that I can barely afford. That's what's keeping people from reproducing. People who are contemplating going on cruises and having second vehicles, they ain't the ones.
Let me
prefer
get
to
this
have a
right.
job and work.
So the
I can
reason
have
why
stuff.
women aren't having kids is because they want to go on a cruise.
It's
That's
because
That's why wealthy women are potentially not having kids who otherwise might be of that disposition, potentially. That's sure. Yeah, I'm sure there are some cases where there are women who have economic prospects who don't want to upset those.
they want a higher material standard of living, and
Okay,
so
all right. How do you-
now
Like the argument for you as the feminist is like, okay, why is it their job to reproduce? Why are they the reproduction slave? That's the argument. Like, you're presuming all of your opponent's premises because you have none of your own because you're useless. And then you're just denying them again for some reason?
know that?
well,
How do you know that?
you did this big long monologue, so now I'm going to do one. If you know anything about the economics of the last 50 years and the birth rates, you would know that prior to pushing women into the workforce in huge numbers in 1970, most women with school-age children stayed at home. Overwhelmingly, there was only like 6% of kids who had a mom that worked full-time. During that time, the economy fundamentally changed into a two-income economy where rather than just having the basics, where a janitor who's a father of 5 can support all those kids on one income and they can have a house in a nice neighborhood, they can have a car, they can afford groceries, and they can even afford to retire. Imagine such a thing, like the baby boomers did. When we pushed women into the economy in huge numbers, it did a couple of things. The first is it created that two-income trap, where now you don't have a family wage.
Why do birth rates matter? Because if you have an aging population and fewer people to drive growth, then you have an aging population and less money. And less incentive, therefore, to make more people, and it goes into a death spiral. Capitalism. Because capitalism. You don't... Like, humanity doesn't need it. The game we're playing does.
You have an individual wage. And on top of that, we changed from being...
And if you're a racist, you can't, for example, allow other people to move in to make up for it if that's the case. Which is what Japan's doing right now.
More of a productive economy to what my friend Aaron Clary calls a she economy. And this is...
Then we need to change capitalism, not people. Don't look at me, I'm not on the debate floor. And both of these dipshits are capitalists.
More of a service-based, consumer-based...
Well, pro-capitalism anyways.
Debt-based economy where everybody is buying more than they can afford, they are financing everything, they are living well above their means, and it takes two incomes to keep this up. And this happened because we gave women a ton of free college. It wasn't really free, they had to pay it back. Women are now the majority debt holders. They have the most degrees, but they also go into life with an average of $50,000 in debt.
Are you against student debt forgiveness?
I'm not done yet.
Oh.
So yes, when you have a young woman who spends all of her formative years going to school, she doesn't graduate college till she's at least 22, maybe later.
I'm against student debt forgiveness. Students shouldn't be in debt at all. Students should be supported to go to school. That's it. Like, that's it. Why on earth would you want to make it a financial burden to produce citizens that aren't a financial burden? How stupid are you when you are the richest country on earth and you are creating hordes of dysfunctional people that you then need to pay for again afterwards? It's so fucking stupid.
She's got $50,000 in debt starting out and she has to start a career. Of course she's gonna say, I can't have a baby. I just started in life with debt and a career that I have to build, otherwise all this college I went to is for nothing. That's why I chose not to do it, because I wanted to have a family and I thought it doesn't make sense for me to do things this way.
Yep.
And a lot of women want to do that and feel the social pressure that they cannot make that choice because everyone around them goes, you've got to have your own money. You can't depend on a man. That's scary. He'll abuse you and you'll have to leave and it's going to be awful. And we don't fearmonger women about, let's say a woman wants to be a dentist and we say, well, what happens if you get arthritis? What if you hurt your hand or lose your fingers in an accident? You can't rely.
That is a weird line of argumentation against becoming a dentist.
On being a dentist, what if something happens?
All right, let me jump in here.
So it's not that, just to summarize, it's not that women are too poor. It's not that people are too poor. We still have a much higher standard of living than we've ever had historically. It's not that we can't afford children. It's that we fundamentally transformed the economics of the country and people have different material standards that they want instead that they prioritize over family.
Okay, so just to repeat, she just said, it's not that women can't afford children. Rachel's in a situation where she has means and she has money. She doesn't speak for all the other women that were in this John Hopkins, where they all said that the number one reason was the economy. There could be all sorts of different reasons. I don't believe that the majority of these women said they're not having kids because they want to be able to go on a cruise, okay?
They got to pay their college
I don't believe,
debt.
I'm not done yet, okay? I don't believe that at all. She's making a gross assumption in assuming to form her argument that all these women are not having kids, and it's got nothing to do with any of the policies put forth right now. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they're living to paycheck or they're single mothers who can't get maternity leave. It's got nothing to do with any of that stuff, but it's, forming her argument on that, which obviously I completely...
How long is this? When does this get to the closing statements? Apparently there's a doozy there.
Completely disagree, but she said something very interesting. It's the whole form of why I'm here today. She said she chose to do things in her life. And
No, you're here today because you saw people be cool on the internet and you thought that that's you, but you were very wrong, my friend. You were very wrong indeed. And anybody who told you that you weren't, anyone who told you that you have a hope of being a successful online debater, they played a very cruel trick on you, sir.
I never want to take that away from you, Rachel. But you want to take that away from other people. And then you'll say, that's a straw man argument. You've said in this debate thus far, what are we halfway through, that she doesn't believe that the majority of women should vote. She thinks it should be on the level of taxes.
I don't think the majority of men should vote either.
Okay. Well, that's
Hmm?
That's a great argument, Rachel. That's a great argument.
It is a great
Yeah,
argument.
yeah. So you don't believe women should vote, and you don't
It is. It undercuts you. You're trying to make an argument about sexism and self-hatred. Doesn't work.
believe a certain percentage of men should vote. But everybody should be allowed to have a gun, though, right? If you're not a felon.
Yes, exactly.
Right. That makes a
You
lot
know
of sense.
why?
That makes a lot of
I think
sense.
the founders were correct about
The
suffrage.
founders had muskets, Rachel. We have AR-15s
What does
now.
that have to do with suffrage?
Has a lot to do with
By
gun
the
control.
way, this is a guy
So-
who's never shot a musket, because if he thinks
Okay.
muskets, I'm a firearms instructor, by the way.
So
if he
think
thinks
about that for a
muskets
moment.
are less
I want you
dangerous
guys
than
to
some of the
think
guns
about,
we have
hold on,
now,
Rachel,
he would
calm
be
down.
wrong.
Don't sprig out. Calm down. So the bottom line here is she wants to take away the rights.
He wants to
of
take away your
people-
guns.
Let
He
me
wants to
finish.
take away your
No,
gun
I don't.
rights.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Don't you let him take
No, I
away
don't.
your rights.
No, I don't. By the way, the people laughing right there, that's the Andrew Wilson circle jerk crew right over.
Oh my god. Really? That's your comeback? That's the Andrew Wilson circle jerk. They're just laughing because they like Andrew Wilson. No, you're like, you see how did they like? I'm starting to feel bad for him. Is this guy like? Does he have like a traumatic brain injury of some kind?
Over there. So I don't want to take away anybody. See, she's wrong. I don't want to take away anybody's right to own a gun as long as they're not a felon. I've never said that. By the way, as far as I know.
Then why did you throw that at me? Oh, you want
because
everyone
of
to have
how
a gun?
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because of how ridiculous her argument is.
Oh, I can't
She wants
wait.
to take
Explain.
away the rights of people to vote, but yet those same people that are not, as you said, contributing to society, go ahead and buy 10 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. I don't want to take your right away, no matter how smart you are or how stupid you might be or how much money you're paying in taxes. I don't want to take your rights away. I'm pro First Amendment.
That's because one of those is oriented around personal defense and the other one is oriented around making complicated decisions for the future of your country, and those are different things, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I wouldn't trust someone to make a decision for the future of millions and millions of people on the basis that they can fire a gun either.
Listen, I've never said that I want to take all of your guns away. And by the way, I can't.
This guy was probably so confident in his beliefs that he thought he could use his pre-existing skills. I have personally learned the hard way that debates require preparation and evidence and rhetoric. Not necessarily. If you're humble and you're like reasonably intelligent, you can sort of reply on your feet. You can wing something like this. This wouldn't be that hard, but you need to be conversational. You need to be willing to just have it primarily be a back and forth. And you have to not be just a completely unlikable git, which you know is a big disability for me. But like, you need to have something. This guy prepared, and he learned really, really hard that his self-perception is just very, very, very flawed. Very flawed.
I can't think of one elected official on the left that said that either. Not that this is a gun control debate. I don't want to take your right away to vote either. Listen, I get frustrated sometimes, and I say, man, I wish stupid people weren't allowed to vote. Man, I wish those people weren't allowed to vote. But would I want to put a law in place to take that right away from you? Of course not. Maybe I could agree with some sort of basic. I know I had a conversation with Vivek Ramaswamy about this, and I sort of agree with him that if you had some sort of basic civics test or something, I can't say I would be against that. Maybe we agree on that.
Great.
But why? That persecutes people. That oh my God. That discriminates people on the basis of education. How about people who are impoverished, who are negatively impacted in terms of their education? Can they not vote to better their situation so their education is better, or that of their kids, maybe, potentially? Like, really?
But the fundamental, if you're not making enough money, or you're unemployed, or you're poor, that should be a factor in whether you should vote or not. I completely, fundamentally disagree with that.
Okay, so you think that people who take
Yeah, the hat. It's like he's going for like, oh, I'm just like one of you guys, but nobody wears that. It's like it's tasteless and bougie. And like, just no. The beard's not doing him any favors either.
Take from the Treasury and raid the Treasury, take the tax money of those who are producing, should be allowed to vote in huge numbers to take more
When you
from
say
those
take,
people.
please be specific. You talking about welfare, food
Yes,
stamps?
I'm talking.
See that pose? See that entire angle? He practiced that in front of the mirror. When you say take, do you mean food stamps? That's what that is. That's what that is, 100%.
About anyone who takes,
Yeah.
I'm not saying poor people.
Yeah.
I was poor most of my life, but
So most of your life, you shouldn't have been allowed to vote?
I
Is that-
wasn't taking more from the system than I was getting. So,
So-
if you're on SNAP benefits, you're
Right.
on TANF,
Right.
you're getting Medicaid, you're taking tens to maybe hundreds of thousands from the government in subsidies and welfare, then no, you don't get to vote to continually steal from other people.
What about people that steal billions of dollars? Should they be allowed to vote?
They should go to prison if you can
What if
prove
they get
that.
a full pardon? Should they be allowed to vote?
Well, if you get a pardon, that's the
Yeah.
legal system.
Gotcha.
What do you want
Okay.
me to do about
So
it?
if
It's going to be
you're-
more Trump
so hold on.
derangement syndrome.
So if you're somebody that has stolen billions of dollars,
Sir, the debate is feminism good for women and children, not is Trump bad?
and you get a pardon, you should be allowed to vote. But if you're somebody that is struggling, maybe living paycheck to paycheck, maybe doesn't have a job, maybe doesn't have the opportunities that some other people have, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Correct.
I'm sorry, that is
okay, let's
absurd.
Let's ask another
Absurd.
question here. So
Oh boy.
I'll make a deal with you. I'll say all the women can vote.
No, I will not have a beer with your husband.
Nobody wants to have a beer
Okay,
with you, dude.
good.
Okay,
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Why will you not have a beer with Andrew Wilson? But you will throw yourself to be on stage with his wife. And to get dominated. Like, that's weird. That's weird.
Good.
all the
That's a
women,
relief.
all the women can vote if they have to sign up for the draft when they turn 18, like
Let's
the men.
talk about the draft. I'm
Yeah,
happy
let's.
to do that with you.
'Kay.
So here's my opinion on the draft, right? And here's my opinion on women, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Like, would he have a beer with Destiny? That's my immediate question. Because I'll tell you what, there would be optical prohibitions to me having a beer with Andrew Wilson. I would never in a million years have a beer with Destiny. Partially because he doesn't drink beer, partially because there's no way in hell I am putting anything into my mouth that has been in proximity to that man or even in the same room.
I believe that there should be a basic physical standard that both men and women need to pass. And because I think we all could agree in this room, on average, right, a man is physically stronger than a woman, on average. That doesn't mean that there aren't women out there that are pretty strong. So my opinion is pretty simple on this. If you can pass that basic physical standard that a man and a woman would have to pass, and they're willing to risk their life for this country.
You're talking about voluntary service. No one is barring women from the military, dude. We're
What's your
talking
opinion
about
on
the
that?
draft.
Should women be able to go to war? Should women be able to be there?
I asked you a question about the draft. Let's stick to my
Okay.
question.
Oh,
rather
she's
than
answer that.
dodging.
Okay.
I think that if women want the same rights as men, they
But it doesn't matter because he did it terribly.
should have to. If we want equality, let's have equality. I'll believe women want equality when they demand to sign up for the selective service, when they demand to be part of the industries where 92% of the workplace deaths are compromised by men, when they're doing 90% of the essential infrastructure work. That's equality. Equality is not a system where men do everything dirty, dangerous, and difficult. They die for the country, they die on the job, they die to defend the borders.
How many women have died
and
from
women-
childbirth since the early 70s?
Oh,
How about you just point out that women die on the job all the time?
I'm glad that you asked. Not nearly as many as men.
How many?
Let me see if I have it in my notes. It's a very small number.
You think over 30,000 people is a very small number?
That's not what I had
That's
here.
what I have. Since the early 70s, over 30,000.
Oh, since the early 70s. Okay. How many men have died in workplace jobs since the early 70s?
I don't have those stats in
Well,
front of me. I
let's look
imagine
it
a
up.
lot of men have died in
More
workplace
than
jobs.
have died in
Sure.
childbirth, by far.
I don't deny
If you
that.
combine wars, so we're talking about voluntary versus involuntary. Nobody
Right,
is
I
forcing
understand
women.
that.
Nobody's forcing women to have children. We are forcing men
You don't?
to sign up for the draft, and we are
No, she's not forcing women to have children. She doesn't have the power to.
Forcing men to do everything that makes these lights, this live stream, these microphones possible.
So
women do not build and maintain society. That's men.
So because women aren't forced to have kids, you don't think that's a sacrifice when they do have kids? When they make that decision?
When a man signs up for
Ironically producing wonderful arguments against capitalist work practices there. She doesn't realize, of course, yeah. What's more embarrassing is he doesn't realize.
Voluntary military service?
Like she's just laying down, like just buttons he could be pressing. Easy. She's giving him like such an easy task. And he just can't do it. He doesn't have the neurons.
He is choosing to sacrifice.
Or orange cat syndrome, okay? Somewhere there are like 10 other people who look identical to him. They're all sharing the same brain cell, just the one.
Three women
him.
Just came home in caskets from Iran. You're aware of that, right?
Anyone who volunteers for either childbirth or military service and dies is doing a great selfless thing. That's not what we're talking about, buddy. You got to try to stick with the argument.
I understand that.
We're talking about what men are compelled to do and what are women compelled to do on behalf of society that might kill them.
You know, I don't think women are forced per se to do anything, but what you are making the argument with us today is you're making the argument that women should be at home and be stay-at-home mothers and they shouldn't be out there in the workforce.
Did I say that?
I mean, they're forced to work, actually. They're forced to labor to sustain themselves like everybody else is. So, and they often die doing it. Right?
Oh, so tell me that then. Tell me your opinion on women in the workplace. Do you believe that women should have the same opportunities as men?
Yeah, that's the irony. He's onboarding all of her assumptions. He's also like pro-capitalist, so he's reiterating, repeating all of the things that produce the negative things that they both agree are negative. So I don't see how he's better at all.
In the workplace.
Yes, and they do. But I will say, yes, they do.
What's the average pay for a woman and a man with the same job?
The wage gap reduces to about 3% when you take into account the fact that women choose easier, lower paying jobs, easier, lower paying degrees than men on average, and take much more time off and much more time away from work.
See, this is the problem with this argument.
He can't even do wage gap arguments.
You're skipping ahead, and you didn't let me finish the point here. We're talking about how men are forced and compelled to possibly go to war and die, and we have no such responsibility for women. No one's forcing women to do anything.
Listen to his breathing. Listen to that. Listen to how, God, this guy is he's so rumble. Just listen. Listen, don't pay attention to Rachel. Okay, just pay attention. Pay attention to Lucky the Leprechaun.
Men are forced and compelled to possibly go to war and die, and we have no such responsibility for women. No one's forcing women to do anything to defend the country. No one's forcing women to go work a job that could kill them.
We don't have civilization without women bearing children.
We don't have civilization without men building
I understand that they're not forced to. Why
do men have to sign up for selective service at age 18, or do you know what happens to them if they don't? They get in big trouble, don't they?
Here's why.
And they lose rights, don't they?
Here's why. As I said earlier, women as a whole are not as physically enabled as men on average.
Wow. You see, he is just a sexist. He's not a feminist. He's just a misogynist. He's like, well, I can tell you why women aren't being signed up for the selective service. They're weaker than us. Like, I'm sorry.
Average.
Right.
On average. That is why I said, and I'll repeat it again, I wouldn't have a problem with that if they both pass the same physical standard.
You're not addressing my question.
I'm completely addressing your question. I never said that women have to sign up. I never said that.
Do men have to pass a physical test to sign up for the draft?
I never made that claim.
So
look at his neck. Look at the vein.
Talking about the draft. Stick to the draft.
I understand what we are talking about.
You're talking about when people go sign up for military service and go to boot camp. I'm not talking about that.
Well, that's the argument that I'm making. I'm making because you're...
That doesn't address the question.
I never made the claim...
If men and women are equal, why is there a standard for men that there is not for women?
So men and women are equal. as I've said before,
Yeah, exactly. Women can't pilot a drone because of upper body strength. Exactly.
there are attributes that women have that are stronger
It's
than
like
men.
they're trying to move the joystick, but their boobs keep getting into the way.
There are attributes that
Yes, we
men
know
have
men
that are
and women
stronger than
are
women.
different.
I never said as a whole, with every job, men and women are equal. I'm not making that argument. The argument of this entire debate here is the point that I'm trying to make is that I don't want to interfere in other people's lives.
That's really cute. That's so virtuous of you. It has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I think it has.
I don't want to tell anyone what to do.
She doesn't want
Has
women to
nothing
vote. She
to
thinks
do.
women should be second-class citizens. Tell me you haven't said that.
I have.
Oh man, how do you reach this stage of your life and just be like this? How does that happen? How do you do that?
Not said that women should be second
You've
class
never
citizens.
said that in any debate on the record.
You think I've said women should be second class citizens?
You've never said that?
No. Maybe
No.
as a joke.
Oh, maybe as a joke. Okay.
I say a lot of stuff.
It was
as
just
jokes.
a joke. It was locker room
Tell
talk.
me when I said that.
I heard you in a debate
Oh,
say
you
that
heard me?
you said women should be second class. Now,
It
is
was locker room talk. What are you doing in the women's washroom, dude?
saying you were joking?
I don't ever remember saying
You don't
women
remember.
should be
Okay.
second class
Okay.
citizens.
You don't remember. Okay. You don't
What
remember.
debate was it?
I think that's interesting.
I think you're lying. What debate was it?
I think you're lying.
What debate was it?
Was it a joke?
Who was I debating?
I'll look it up. Was it a joke?
You're lying. I didn't say that.
As when I was doing debate
Do you have
prep,
proof or not?
when I was doing debate prep,
You have
Just say, like, no, you were implying you want women to be second-class citizens by not letting them vote. That's a class that has less rights than other classes. They're second-class citizens. That's the argument. Did you forget?
proof or not?
I will provide you the proof.
Okay.
So you're saying you never
Provide-
said that?
No, I never said that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
So back to the draft. Why is it that men have to sign up for the selective service or risk losing their voting rights and even their freedom, but women don't? Why?
Because you have a sexist government and they shouldn't do that. Men shouldn't be considered disposable cannon fodder because of the dangly bits between their legs.
Well, I just gave you the answer. As a
Because-
whole, in general.
So men and women are different. And they serve different
When did I say that
purposes.
they were exactly the same?
I'm not
That would
saying
be
you
the
did.
most ridiculous
I'm saying,
thing. I never said that.
Why should women have the exact same political power as men when, as the anti-suffrage women brilliantly argued, they said, look, the purpose of government is to protect persons and property.
Have a
That's
good night,
the
Mercedes.
function
So the
of
argument
government.
is because
and women
when we're
cannot
born,
do that.
when we're born, as on average, as I've said, men might be on average stronger than women. Because of that premise, and they have to sign up, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. I completely disagree with that premise. And it goes-
Why?
Why?
What's
It's
your
because
argument? I
it's-
haven't heard an argument. I've just heard you go, oh, I can't believe what she said.
My immediate question would be, why would you even dignify that with a response? Just argue about how feminism is good for women and argue about how feminism isn't responsible for the bad things that she mentioned. You don't need to argue this just because she brought it up. It means you're really weak and really reactive and really insecure if you feel the need to beat her at every single point she raises. You can just ignore them. They're irrelevant points sometimes. You can just ignore them.
Could you hear believe what she's saying? She called people a word. She said women should be second-class citizens. She
I
wants
think,
to take away
I think if
No
you're not
argument.
a Christian, you're retarded. That's my
I
impersonation
think
of
you should give me an argument.
Okay, well, bad impersonation. Okay, bad impersonation.
Oh, God.
I never
I don't
said
have a stupid hat.
bad impersonation. Okay, all right.
Now give me the argument, please.
Do you really want to go
The hat would look better on her.
there?
I want you to
You
give
want to
me
go
an
to personal
argument.
physical attributes?
I want you to give me an argument.
Is that what you're going to do?
I mean, do you want to have a modeling contest, Brian? I don't think you're going to win.
Okay, I don't think you're going to win either.
Fair enough. Now
Yeah.
give me an argument. Tell me
I've-
why.
I've
Tell me
already,
how we're supposed to have equality between the sexes when one is expected to die
I will
on
tell
behalf
you
of
why.
the other. Okay, tell
And
me.
I've tried to explain this to you. Okay? Women have certain things that they are better than men at. Women have certain responsibilities, like bearing children, if they decide to have
If
children.
they want
The
to.
argument that you're making is, well, it's a choice for a woman to have a child. Okay, yes, it is a choice. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. But still, my point being is that just because women don't have to sign up for the draft shouldn't be a reasoning why women should not be allowed to vote. Let me ask you, and I'm
You
going to
just restated the position. You did not give me an argument.
So let me ask you a question. then.
Why? What would be
Because
the differentiator?
women don't have to sign up for the draft. I know. Look at your husband for.
He's
for
so
advice. I know,
handsome,
he's
I
so
can't help
smiling.
it.
I know. By the way, this is. I want
It's rough looking this way. I want to take a break and look this way.
I will say this.
Now, if you
since
can
she
give
wants
me
to
a-
get,
if you can give me
since
an
she wants to get
argument.
personal with me because she's been doing that.
He doesn't want to have to actually give an argument.
That's getting personal for you.
He just did, by
An
the way,
argument.
was restate the position.
You're insulting my physical.
He's got something loaded in the chamber. He's gonna go really low because he's really stupid. And in preparation for this debate, he just got a list of personal things he can say. And I'm aware of some of them, so I think that's what's going to happen. Also because I've been slightly spoiled because I've heard that I don't know what the details are, but apparently he wrote an apology for the closing statement for this. Which is, it's bad when that happens. He's like champing at the bit. He's lost really badly and he's thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get her. I'm going to get her so bad. I'm going to get her so bad. She called me ugly, but I'm going to fuck her up. I got one.
Appearance.
He said, I don't
You've
think
called
they
people
should
retarded
because I
for not
don't
agreeing
think they
with you.
should.
And
You have an
you're
argument?
talking to me about forming an argument?
Yes.
You've called millions of people
All you
retarded that
have-
don't agree
yes,
with you.
you're very
and now you're
outraged.
talking to us
You're
about
very
how
offended.
handsome your husband is.
He is.
You couldn't be more insecure.
He's so handsome.
I will say this, though. The
Look
other
at him,
day,
he's so cute.
when we had our little, kind of funny, we had our little Twitter spat, she spent all day trying to convince strangers how hot her husband was. Little strange.
Woo!
Little
Look
strange.
at him. Yeah.
Little strange.
Stop mocking yourself, dude.
Listen,
Just stop it.
I think
Stop it. Here's who's trying to convince people you're hot. That's the response to that. Stop. Stop it.
you're in a healthy relationship.
Did she pay him to do this charade to make them look better? Like what?
You should think your husband is hot. If you're married to a woman, you should think your wife is hot. I just think it's a little weird trying to explain to thousands of complete strangers, trying to convince them that your husband is hot.
Okay,
I don't know, it's a
now-
little weird.
now rather
It's a
than
little
you-
strange, that's
now
all. It's a little
rather
weird.
It's not though.
You restating your position of I just don't think so. Tell me why
I've
women
told
should.
you
No, you just
over-
restated the position.
No, I've
That's all
told you.
did.
You're
said
not, Rachel,
they
you're not
shouldn't
listening.
Because they shouldn't.
Rachel, you're not listening.
I'm listening. You're not thinking.
You're right. No, I'm thinking you're not listening, okay?
I really hope you're not thinking, dude.
Simply restating
So,
the position is
so
not an argument.
Rachel, I'm not stating the
You
position
did.
over.
You
I'm
said,
giving you
"I
my
don't think that-"
opinion
Okay,
on
try
what we are
again.
discussing.
Try
okay?
again.
I've already tried. You're not paying attention, so I'll say it again, okay? There is no question that there are sacrifices that men have to make that women don't have to make, like being in the draft. I agree with you, okay? However, there are sacrifices that women have
Why
to
not just say the draft is bad? Just say the draft is bad, cut the legs right out from under her. That's all you gotta do.
Like
make
what?
that like bearing children and
But
being
that's-
pregnant and having
but
kids.
that's
I never said they had to
That's
do
a
it.
category error.
I never said they had to do
Let
it.
me help this man with another logical
There we go
fallacy. It's
again.
called a category error. We are talking about an involuntary thing, which people are compelled by the government to do, versus a completely voluntary
Well, we're going to
thing
agree to
that
disagree.
nobody even dares
We're going to agree
tell
to disagree
women
on that.
to
Do you think women are bad in the government? Do you think they're bad representing in government? Because you said that in your book, right? You think women
I
are bad?
don't think women should be in politics, no. But
don't?
you still haven't given me an argument
Well,
for,
I
for
mean,
why.
we can beat a dead horse, but I'd like to move on to another topic. Do you
I'm
think,
sure you would,
do you
because
think
you
women
had-
are
you
bad?
just- I
no,
just
because
won
we
that
only. How
point.
much time do you have left in this debate? There's a lot of other things that we should be discussing. Yeah, exactly. 10 minutes more. You think women are bad in government, right? You don't think they should be in government. You don't think
Right.
they should be politicians, right?
Yes,
Why
correct.
is that? Why do you think that way?
Because the purpose of government is for the protection of people and property, and women
Good.
are not able to accomplish that. Women, there's a
Yep.
reason, by the way, that historically women couldn't own property. It's because they can't defend it. So as a woman, if I owned like 100
No, it's because they were it, but who fucking cares at this point?
acres of land in 1845, how am I going to protect it
Yep.
from bandits, from marauders, from people
I hate
who
to
want to
break
just
it
come
to
and
Rachel,
steal it?
but-
I would need, you asked me a question, so I'm answering.
Yeah,
I
lady.
would need men to do that on my behalf. I think the reason that we shouldn't have women in government is because men are the only people who can defend the borders, who can enforce the law. We've seen what happens when you
Please help this man off stage and replace him with an attractive houseplant. Yeah.
try to put female law
He
enforcement
needs a wellness check.
officers on the streets and on the border. It doesn't work
Yeah.
out very well. We need men, and we rely on them to protect persons and property.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Therefore, that's the task of
Let's
men,
talk
not
about
of women.
protecting. Let's talk about COVID for a moment. Female
Okay.
leaders.
Yeah, let's. COVID. Okay, sure. Tell me how
Why are
this
you
is gonna-
laughing at
'cause
COVID? Millions of people died of
It
COVID.
had better.
Let's talk about the Titanic. Okay, let's talk about the Titanic. Why are you laughing? Do you realize how many people died on the Titanic? Jack drowned because a woman couldn't share a door.
Tie back to feminism.
Why are you
Because
laughing?
we're debating feminism, and
You think
you're
COVID's
bringing
funny?
I think it has nothing to do with feminism.
Okay, well, why don't you shut up and let me finish and make him a sandwich again and
Are
let
you
me
mad?
finish.
Are you
No,
getting a
you're
little
just
emotional?
respect.
Just realistically, he can only eat so many sandwiches in an hour. Like, ask her to get him a drink or something at some point.
I'm trying to make a point. I let you talk. Be quiet. Let me talk. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. You said
turning
women.
red.
You said women shouldn't
He really is, actually.
be in government positions.
Yes.
I'm hungry now, honestly.
I am telling you
I'm
during.
going to make some avocado toast, and then I'm going to pass out because I'm so tired my lips are not moving properly. I'm slurring my words because I'm exhausted and because of the pollen outside. And I'm stressed and tired, and my genes make me have every inflammatory issue known to man. And I'm a YouTuber, so it's just all... Man, I wish I just worked as a barista.
During COVID, female leaders were far more successful than men in dealing with COVID. Globally, women only held 7% of leadership positions. 4 of the top 10 countries that were run by women, and in this study, the death rates, 13 countries led by men, 8 led by women, the male per capita, 214 deaths per million that were led by men. Led by women, 36 people.
I'd respect him more if he had like a bucket hat on. The flat cap is just not, it's not doing it. Especially that color. It's just no. No, that's not it. Maybe like a paperboy cap, like a checker pattern or something. You're going to go for the Irish thing, go for it. Go big or go home. This is just tacky.
People per million. Look, you could look up that stat. Now, why? You could say maybe it was ego. You could say maybe it was bad policy. You could say maybe it wasn't listening to experts. Whatever the case may be, the women that were in power in these countries led to 36 people dying per million. By the men, 214 deaths per million. So if your premise is that men should be in power in these positions and women shouldn't, then what is your explanation there? Because if women weren't in power, more people would have died.
I'm sorry, are you suggesting that the reason why those women made good decisions is because they're women? Because that's really stupid and sexist, actually.
Do you believe in freedom and liberty?
No, they're illusions.
I think I've made that pretty clear.
Okay. Well, the reason for those statistics is that women were notoriously tyrannical, like the Prime Minister of New Zealand locked down New Zealand tighter than a prison camp. And the fastest way to get rid of liberty
Okay, you know what? I'm sold. We need more women in government.
and freedom is to put women in charge of the government, because they overwhelmingly bring
Stop trying to convince me, Rachel. I'm sold.
in tyrannical welfare
I just gave
Yes.
you the stats of how they saved lives.
Yes, by locking down their countries, by
They
not letting
saved
people go to work,
lives.
by shutting down businesses, by forcing people to take vaccines.
So,
Yes. Yes. I agree, Rachel. We should be ruled by women across the board.
so first of all,
you think forced vaccination
first
is
of all, I
freedom?
find it repugnant that people
Yes.
in this crowd are laughing at the fact that less people died because maybe you couldn't go to the mall, okay? I find that despicable, number one.
You were
number
one of those
two,
people chasing people around with masks.
No,
weren't you?
actually, I was
Yeah.
one. No, I was one of those people that almost died of COVID. I was in the
How-
ICU. Hold on a second. I was in the ICU for 2 weeks. I saw people die around me. And the last breaths
very
that,
sad.
and the last, no, it is sad.
Wow, he's like a war veteran.
How do you
And the
feel
last
about forced
breaths,
vaccinations?
that
Yes,
some of
the
those
last
people
breaths.
made,
So much drama.
they didn't think that COVID was real. The reason
Really? You asked them? I thought you were in the ICU. What do you mean?
why this is a personal topic to me is because I almost died from it. And I would imagine, sadly, I wish this wasn't the case.
That's not personal. It was a global pandemic. You're not special, dude. What do you mean you almost died from it? You were on a ventilator? That doesn't mean you almost died from it. That means you needed treatment to survive it. That doesn't mean you almost died from it.
I would imagine a lot of people in this room know people that died of COVID. It was horrible. I don't want innocent people to die. Of course I
A
want...
lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know. It was a lot of people who died from COVID. It wasn't enough people that everyone knows someone who died from COVID. Depending on where you are.
people to have their freedoms. Of course I want people to go out and be able to live their lives. The only point that I was trying to make was that women that were in these positions during that time during COVID saved lives, and they did a better job than men. Now, if you think they're woke and they shouldn't have closed everything should have been open, you're entitled to that opinion.
How do you
I
feel,
disagree with you.
How do you feel about forcing people to take
I've
experimental vaccines?
I've always said that I never felt like the vaccines should have been forced
Like,
on.
I would wager there are a lot of Americans that have never known personally a trans person before. The percentage of trans Americans is higher than the percentage of people who died of COVID. Like, it's so weird.
Anybody. I disagree with people
that
said that.
That's what women did
Okay,
when they
but,
were in charge.
but these women that were in charge of these countries, and by the way, that's not entirely factually accurate. So let me ask you a question. Do you want us to look like a third world country? Is that what you want?
Oh, we're racist too. Okay.
No.
You don't want that. Okay.
Explain.
Well, let me ask you this.
Are we still talking about feminism, by the way?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we
Can
are.
you
Because
bring it
when you
back and
take
land
an
the
entire
plane?
society and you say that women shouldn't vote, women shouldn't.
Do you want society to, do you want to be like a Muslim, Rachel? Is that what you're saying?
Be doing these specific things.
What
I don't
did
want to look like.
What specific things?
I don't want to
did
look like
say?
Afghanistan.
I fucking called it. Fucking called it. You know what's funny about Afghanistan, though, bub? America was allied with the people you're now criticizing to fight the Soviet Union. They armed them. It's why they're in charge.
You are pushing.
I didn't say that.
You are pushing a narrative.
So it's either progressive liberal enlightenment or it's Sharia law in Afghanistan.
I didn't say that.
What do you think Western
You did, though. That was the argument.
culture looked like for
Like, what do you want, Rachel? You want to be like a Muslim?
all of its history?
Can you
Women
please-
can have plenty of liberty
We have like
and
5
not
minutes, right?
run the country.
Okay, about 5 minutes. 'Cause
Putting
for time,
some limits on
time
women is not
constraints.
the same
Rachel,
thing
we
as
only have
Sharia
5
law.
minutes, so time
well,
constraints.
you've spent all the time
In
talking
your book-
about Trump
in your
and
book-
COVID and all kinds
Well,
of
yeah,
crazy
because
stuff.
I gave you examples of women in government that
and
I
you've
thought did
still
a good
not
job.
made a single compelling argument.
Actually, I did. They saved lives, and obviously you don't care about that. Did you say in your book
That's his argument. Was feminism good for society? Well, there were women in the CDC who did a good job.
that Miley Cyrus, Cardi B, Katy Perry, Beyonce, because they stick their tongue out, they're invoking some Hindu goddess and they hate men? Is that why they stick their tongue out?
They literally say in their songs
do.
they hate men. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
You
they
talked about
literally
sticking.
say-
No, in your book you
Yes.
said because they stick their tongue out. You
Yeah.
think? Okay. Can you please explain that to the? Because according to your theory, Gene Simmons must want
Nobody's read her book. This is not a winning strategy, dude.
to kill men too. When
I have to review her book still. I owe a patron that.
women stick their tongue out, could it just be possible that maybe they're just doing it because they enjoy it, or it's something they do?
I said in the book,
Mm-hmm.
whether they know it or not, this could be invoking forms of ancient goddess worship, and they do in their own songs talk about it. That's not
So
really,
hold on. So because
that's not
Miley
really
Cyrus
pertinent.
sticks out her tongue, that must mean that they hate and they want to kill men.
I didn't say that.
In your book,
It
you were
doesn't
talking
say
about
that.
invoking the Hindu goddess
Let me
because they
ask
stick
you
their
something.
tongue out.
Did you read the book?
That must mean I want to
That's-
kill men too. I
Did
don't
you
know.
read the book? Because you said you weren't.
I
going
read
to.
excerpts of the book.
You-
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. At least he's honest there.
Chat
Sure,
GPT?
sure.
Because that's not what I said.
Oh, so what did you say? So talk to me about women sticking their tongue out.
Well, just briefly, because
Pardon
it's
me?
not actually relative to whether feminism is good
It
for
is.
women and children.
You're attacking
which
women
is-
for sticking their tongue
I'm
out.
not I'm attacking women.
You're right. They're Hindu goddesses, and they
That's
want men.
not what I said. Anyone who's read the book would know. By the way, go buy it. It's on Amazon. Occult Feminism: The Secret History of Women's Liberation. It will
If I had
explain,
it-
though.
if I had it, I would
will
use it as
explain
toilet paper.
how during the 70s there was a big goddess worship revival in the West that coincided with feminism, and that they do still now. If you go to TikTok, look up the hashtag witch talk, and you will see feminists showing you how to perform ritual
Look up the
abortions,
talk tag
how to
witch
worship
hash.
ancient goddesses like Lilith and Inanna, and they take it very
Well, you
seriously.
really are
Do you
nuts.
know that I'm not nuts?
You are
Witchcraft.
absolutely crazy.
Okay,
Batshit
well,
crazy.
I'm not crazy. Witchcraft.
Sticking your tongue out.
Witchcraft is the #1 fastest growing religion among young
He
women
thinks the audience is with him. It's beautiful.
in the West. Did you know that?
I did.
That audience is like 99% against Rachel Wilson. Against her, by the way. Like 99% of the audience is 100% against her. They hate him. Everybody hates him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why?
So that's not me.
You know why?
That's them telling you that.
No, I know
They're
that.
telling you they believe it.
I am very very
Now, whether
aware
you
of
believe
that.
witchcraft is real or not doesn't matter. They're
Well,
saying
you know why?
they believe it.
You know why I feel that way? Because I think most people that are into that think that it's inclusive. It's not oppressive,
That's
maybe
right.
like
That's actually
Christianity.
correct.
They
That's
feel
what
like
they say.
feel like maybe that it's empowering.
So you love witchcraft.
I'm going by why I think you could make.
Witchcraft is cool, you guys. It's very inclusive. It's very
Well,
progressive.
you believe in the Bible, right? And God killed 2.4 million people in the Bible. Is that oppressive? I don't know.
I believe in Orthodox Christianity, and I'm not going to get into a Bible
Of
debate
course
with
you're
you
not.
because
No, of
it's
course you're not.
beyond the scope of this.
So
This
we
discussion.
only got a couple minutes
Show
left
me
here.
So, do you have an argument? Tell me how feminism has improved the lives of women and children when I just opened with all these statistics proving that
I'll use your argument
we
because
are
I want to
worse
move
off.
on to one other thing, but I'll just use the argument that you used 20 minutes ago. It's retarded. So
What's retarded?
There's a lot of
Feminism?
That was the argument? Okay.
problems. There's a lot of
Feminism is
okay. So hold on.
retarded?
There's a lot of problems in
So
this
he
country.
agrees with me?
I think we all know. Okay. There's a
You
lot
didn't
of.
answer the
there's a lot-
question.
I'm
How has-
finished. Hold on. We have 3 minutes
No, you were out of line, but you were fundamentally correct in your implications.
left here. We have a lot of problems in this country. We've talked a little bit about it, right? Education.
He is so dumb. He is legitimately so dumb. It's actually kind of astonishing.
Healthcare, jobs.
So confidently dumb. You don't see cases like this very often in the wild. It's magical, actually.
Debt. This is why Republicans, women, female Republicans, are not entering. The reason why is because this is what Rachel.
Female Republicans are not entering. They're not entering. They just aren't. They do not enter. Female Republicans do not enter.
is focused on. She's not focused on those other topics that I just brought up. I think a lot of people are. It's an uninspiring ideology that you have.
What are you even talking about?
I'm talking about your ideology. I'm talking about
Patriarchy?
I'm talking about your ideology
What's
and the
my
reason
ideology?
why
What's
I
it
think you've
called?
made it very clear to everybody what your
Patriarchy.
ideology
Yes,
is. I think it's very
patriarchy.
clear what you think women should be doing. Listen, as I've said before,
Having families with good men who protect them and take care of them, yes, I think that's great.
and what if a
Are
woman
you against that?
and absolutely not. What would you say to a woman
Oh man, I
that
am so
hasn't found
sleepy.
the right man? She's in her mid-30s. What should she do?
Go to church?
Go to church.
Go to jail.
So you think church will help her
I think
find?
she could find a good man in church.
But there are women out there.
No. You and Kyla should do a stream together.
30s, 40s,
Yeah.
that haven't found the right man.
Well, is it that they haven't found the right man, or is it that they've been through about 50 men and haven't
You
wanted to
shouldn't
lock
talk,
any
you
of them
shouldn't
down?
talk about yourself like that, Rachel.
I've been with a handful, like less than
Mm-hmm.
5.
I know you are, but what am I? I'm rubber, you're glue.
No, I'm
Without
talking
feminism,
about,
you would not
I'm
have been allowed
talking about-
to break up with those men,
I
right? Would you
didn't.
agree with that?
I didn't.
You weren't married to any other men?
I was, but I
Okay.
didn't initiate
100 years ago,
divorce.
you wouldn't have been able to
She didn't initiate the divorce.
I
divorce
didn't.
them, right?
I didn't divorce them. I was abandoned by an abusive person.
Okay, so
Yes.
100 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to.
Yes, you would have.
She was abandoned. She didn't have to do anything. It just happened to her. Are you deaf?
I just told you that in the year 1900, 55,700 divorces were granted to women who were in abusive marriages. So yes, I would have. And by the way, one more thing.
Disagree.
I would be able to be here without feminism. This is a very stupid, silly rebuttal. Yes.
it's not stupid
Mary
at all.
Wollstonecraft, yes, the anti-suffragists were having public debates against suffragists in 1848, you dumbass.
I understand that.
So women were allowed to speak publicly. Women have always been allowed to speak. They've been allowed to write books, and they have been allowed to be part of the public discourse even far before they could vote. He is ignorant and doesn't know his history.
Yeah.
I hate to
So-
do this, but
so-
we really do have to transition. I hate to do it, but we do have to, as we are
We have to
limited
transition. Feminism progresses apace.
on time, as we've already gone.
She called me a
over
dumbass,
time
but okay, go ahead.
For
Points to Rachel. Well done. Thank you for acknowledging that. That is big of you, Brian.
the cross section.
I guess I can't
dumbass.
respond to that.
And just, well, someone has to have the last word during the open dialogue.
Go ahead.
We
Go
do
for it.
have to go to the Q&A, which I'll ask you
Sure.
folks to get ready for in just a second. But first, I want you to get ready for some groundbreaking news from Farm Easy Bank, your trusted ally in health and well-being, with an extensive range of
I hate this guy so fucking much. This guy is such a fucking loser. And he's got a Subway tattoo on his body. What? What's going on? What did you do?
So I can respond to it, that's all.
You talked a lot about
Hang on,
freedom.
there's closing statements. Let's go to the closing statements. Oh man, I am like on the verge of passing out here.
So what's your question then?
The question is, women could still have influence without having suffrage.
This guy looks familiar. Who is this guy?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what we want in society, right?
You want women to have influence but not have suffrage?
Yeah, I think that's what I
Thanks, Sid the Sloth. Okay.
want. Yeah.
I don't want women to suffer. I'm trying to understand what the
Oh my god. Oh my god. He thinks women's suffrage is when women suffer. There's no way. There's no way.
The question is, women could still have influence without having suffrage.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what we want in society, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I want. Yeah.
I don't want women to suffer. I'm trying to understand what the question is.
Oh.
Oh my god. This is like a madcap comedy. This is like a routine from like a National Lampoon movie. You couldn't write this.
Oh wow, very clever.
Go ahead, sir.
That was not clever.
All right. I'm a Hindu, so I.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm very aware that everybody in this room disagrees with me, but that doesn't stop me from coming here.
Funny because
and
in DMs you said that you were going to sell at least as many tickets as me.
oh, I'd like to see that DM. I don't remember saying that.
You said
Go
we'll
ahead.
see about that. I think.
Yeah, I
plenty
never
of
said I
people
was
are
going to
gonna
sell
buy
as many tickets
for
as
me.
you. I never said that.
All right. So I'm a Hindu.
This is why people don't want to debate you.
All right, we do have
Go
to go to
ahead.
the next.
People do want to debate her. You wanted to debate her. I'm probably going to debate her at some point. I'm reviewing her book. I'm probably going to debate her afterwards. I'll probably lose, but it'll be fun.
Next question.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm a Hindu.
Yep.
I
I won't lose. I'm just seeding the ground. Okay, I'm making her overconfident.
really do believe in like God.
Dude, why? The obvious reason. Brooks, money. Money. Also, it's a debate about a book. I'm reviewing her book. I'm going to debate about a book. If there's anybody who's going to debate about a book, it's going to be me.
Gods and goddesses too. So why do you think mocking other religions is a good thing about
No,
feminism?
I wasn't mocking other. Okay, so give me the statement that I made. Mocking other religions.
So like when you in your own debate, when in this
Yeah.
debate you were talking about like she said in her book about
Right,
like there's women like mocking about like
Right.
Hindu gods.
Yeah, I was mocking her. I wasn't mocking religion in general. Let me be very clear. I'll clear this up for you. I believe everybody has the right to believe in whatever you want to believe in. You can believe in. My problem with religion in general terms is that too many people, like Rachel, push their beliefs on other people, and if they don't believe in what she believes in her God, she calls people retarded. I want you to believe
Ugh,
in what you want to
I
believe.
can't even go there.
In, and you have that right to do, then I would never want to take that right away from you. I don't care what religion.
Really, you don't want Hindu parents to be able to teach their kids religious edicts that teach them to be incredibly regressive and hateful towards X, Y, and Z, including women in many cases? Okay, that's weird of you.
You guys could believe in the tooth fairy if you want.
I mean, personally, I think a lot of religious indoctrination of children is child abuse, but that's just me.
You have the right to freedom of religion. I would never want to take that away from you, sir. I've been very clear on that.
I think this is going to be our last question we can take.
Mr. Shapiro and Ms. Wilson, can you each say something kind to each other?
That's the best question.
Of course he looks like that. Smiling little cutie bastard.
Go ahead,
Someone just pinch his cheeks.
Rachel, you first.
I decline.
Yeah.
That was kind, by the way. That was kind. That was kindness right there. That was genuine kindness.
Well, here's what I would say. And I'm not surprised she would say that. Because before we were in the green room,
Remember, we're asking for something kind.
I know. Before we were in the green room, I said, hey, I'd love to shake their hands. I'm happy, even though obviously we have our personal grievances, which I think both of us would agree. I was happy to shake their hands and be
I don't think she has grievances with you. I think you punched yourself in the face for the last hour and a half. And I think she's grateful.
professional. I said, hey, have them come in. Love to say hello to them and be kind. They declined. I was trying to be professional. But I will say this. You're an opinion. You're an opinion.
Rachel wasn't here yet when.
Okay, well, whatever. You know, that's. Andrew was here. You said he was in the other room, right?
Andrew was here.
Okay, and I said they're both welcome to come in, and I'm happy to say hello to them.
Okay, what's your nice thing you want to say about Rachel?
Gonna have to think about this. Give me 10 seconds here.
Say your hair's looking nice.
I owe nothing and no respect to a person who's going to publicly try to accuse me of believing things I don't believe, saying things I don't say, and being promiscuous, which I've never been in my life.
Okay.
So.
Say your hair's looking nice. Her hair's looking nice. She did her hair good. No, it looks good, but not pretentious. She did her hair good. There you go. Easy. But you can't say that because you're bald under that hat. Damn.
Let's not pretend there's a pretense of professional decorum here, because
What was
there's
the
just
question?
not.
Was the question say something nice about one another or attack?
Kind.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, we'll
I
go to the next
decline.
question.
I decline.
Good.
Actually, that is all we have for Q&A. I do want to make sure that we get the closings in, so we do actually have to jump into the closings. These are 3-minute time sections. I've got the timer set for you, and Brian.
You want me to go first again?
Yes. In each case, you'll be going first. The floor is all yours, Brian.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
You're welcome.
I do a lot of shows that are way far to the right. I'm happy to do them, regardless of whether people agree or disagree with me. But I'm going to talk about something now very serious. And it's an emotional thing. And when I was doing debate prep for this debate, I learned of a horrible story.
And then because you're doing debate prep, you promptly forgot it. Lest you and your lack of discipline and general emotionality bring up something that makes you look very, very bad at the tail end of a very, very bad debate. Right?
That I am very sad to hear. That you had lost your 10-year-old son in a car accident, and my condolences to your family. It's awful.
Why are you bringing that up?
And
Why are you bringing that up? How is that germane to this? Oh, I didn't realize it was that. That's what you're leading with? Closing statement. Hey, your kid died. What the fuck?
Unfortunately, we have something like that in common, Rachel, and I am truly sorry that happened to you. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. When I was 12 years old, my whole family...
When you were 12 years old, your kid died in a car accident? That's weird.
Got into a very serious car accident. I lost my grandmother. It's the reason...
Okay. Yeah, listen. Listen, dipshit. You losing your grandmother is not the same as someone losing their 10-year-old kid, you fucking freak. What an actual fucking weirdo.
Why my sister passed away a few years ago, because of her injuries. And I learned at a very young age.
What is wrong with you? Do not trauma dump using somebody else's kid getting killed. What the fuck is wrong with you?
How precious life is. What does this have to do with feminism?
Nothing. It was a car accident, you clown.
Life is really short.
What?
And again, I say again, how sorry I am that your family had to go through that. It's horrible. And the reason why I talk about how short life is, I don't want to tell you guys what to do.
Well, this is not...
I don't want to tell you guys that you can't vote because you're poor. I don't want to tell you guys that you can't be in the workplace. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a stay-at-home mom with kids.
What the hell? What the fuck is he doing? What are you doing, dude? What on earth are you doing?
I think that's all great. I don't want to tell you what to do. When I was 14 years old, my dad introduced me to two radio hosts, Howard Stern and Don Imus.
You just brought up her kid who died. I don't even know how long ago that was. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Didn't really like Don Imus very much. I said, Dad, I want to be like that. I want to be on the radio one day. And my family supported me. And I had to work really fucking hard, pardon my French, to get to where I am, to be able to even do something like this, to be able to go on Pierce Morgan, to be able to do those things. And I'm very humbled by that. But it wasn't because I'm a guy. It wasn't because I'm a male. It's because I worked my ass off, which I'm still doing every day. And if a woman listens to their dad growing up and they want to be a radio host, or they want to be a doctor or a nurse, or maybe they're poor, but they're still involved in politics and they want to vote, I say, do what makes you happy. Live your life. Don't listen to somebody, no matter what religion they are or who they are, tell you what to do with your life.
Sir, you clearly haven't had any life experiences after you turned 14. What is wrong with you?
I'm doing what I'm doing now.
This man actually sat down and went, oh, how can I bring up the fact that the Wilsons, or I don't know if it's Andrew's kid, that Rachel Wilson's kid by another guy potentially, how do I bring up that that my debate opponent's child died in a car accident as a gotcha? How do I bring that up? Oh, I know. Well, when I was 12, my grandma died. Everyone's grandma dies. Not everyone's kid dies. That's really different. Rachel's just waiting to be allowed to leave. I mean, he'd already killed himself in this debate. Now he's just doing it again for some reason.
Because I worked hard. It has nothing to do with my gender or because I'm a woman.
Oh, I think it very much has to do with the fact that you're a woman.
We all have tragedies in life, and I'm sorry for yours. 30 seconds. And I wish we didn't have that in common, because it's awful. Don't let other people tell you what to do. I know there's a lot of people in this crowd that probably disagree with a lot of what I said today. And listen, that's okay. We have the freedom to agree.
I don't know what he is. He is very, very stupid. He is very, very stupid.
Or disagree with people. That's what makes this country great. But we're all human beings. I'm not perfect. I make plenty of mistakes.
Yes, I dare say you do.
I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and I've probably said things in my life that I regret. But I own it. And so thank you all for being here.
Wow. Fuck this guy.
5 seconds. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Congratulations.
James. Thank
Congratulations, like making me sympathetic to the anti-feminist fascist lady. Well done. Frankly, that's an achievement. I didn't think it could be done. That was I was wrong.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I appreciate it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love having good debates, and I appreciate all you guys being here. Thank you very much.
We could go over to Rachel
Notice no applause. Nobody.
for her 3-minute closing as well. The floor is yours, Rachel.
Okay, so this was very disappointing. We had no arguments from Brian whatsoever for why we should believe that feminism has been beneficial for women and children. He wasn't able to provide any data, any sort of measurement whatsoever to show that, hey, before feminism, this was what happened, and after feminism.
Imagine you cynically invoke your dead sister too, to justify bringing up someone's dead kid. Like, what the fuck? And she's not wrong. He had nothing. He had nothing. He showed up to a gunfight with a hamster, and the hamster was loyal to the other guy.
This is what we got. We didn't get any of that. What we got was a whole bunch of logical fallacies and a person who doesn't understand what an argument is or how to debate. I'm going to list them off quickly, but join in the comments on the live stream if you caught more of these than I did. These were just some of the fallacies that we witnessed tonight from Brian. Non sequitur, argument from incredulity, straw man, ad hominem,
Expecto patronum.
Category error, tu quoque fallacy, appeal to authority, argument ad populum. And on top of all that, we got moral outrage, we got appeals to your virtue and your emotions, and what we got from Brian ultimately was the best argument against feminism, because what feminism produces is emotionally incontinent, weak men who can't control themselves, who have violent outbursts, will insult you, will be angry and combative, and then try at the end of the debate to bring up your dead child and not even let you get through a debate in a professional manner addressing the topic at hand.
She's out of line. But she earned that. I'm sorry. Wrong. Feminism doesn't produce that. I don't know what produces that, to be honest with you. And I don't want to find out. She's allowed that reply. That's how badly you did, Brian. That's how badly you did.
Without crying and bringing up your dead son, who you probably don't want to be thinking about in the closing of a professional debate that you're trying to get through. So when he says, do what you want, man, follow how you feel, life's short, do what you feel like, just follow what you want, follow your emotions, I would say no, don't do that. Find a strong, virtuous man in your life who knows how to hold boundaries and protect you, who can control his emotions, who can be the force.
She could probably have hit him at this point, and I don't think anyone would falter, bluntly. I mean, probably some people would. I probably would. But you know what? I'd keep that to myself.
Of strength and stability that families need that we don't have anymore. Don't be a male feminist like this. Don't be this emotionally incontinent, just going all over on a tangent, unable to control your thoughts, unable to control your emotions, just spewing and vomiting emotional appeals to people in the middle of a professional debate, bringing up dead children, bringing up your abusive ex-husband. Be the kind of person who can actually handle getting up here and having an argument, making an argument, sticking to the topic, controlling yourself. And the fact that I a housewife from the Midwest with no college degrees, no professional training, and better able than him to do that, just shows you this is the kind of men that feminism has produced, and this is why society is all messed up.
The irony is that she did a man's job better than he did, and that's actually the argument for feminism, but leaving that aside. Jesus fucking Christ. What an actual loser. What an actual loser.
With that, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Sean, who is the leader of Uncensored America.
I don't care. All right, guys. I'm fading really hard. I gotta sleep. Thanks for joining me. Have a good night. We won't be live tomorrow. I'm going to try to finish the essay tomorrow. We're 3/4 of the way through. That'll be on Patreon. And the video will hopefully be recorded and out in the next couple of days. It'll be on Patreon first, hopefully by Tuesday. And then life will move on to the next thing. All right, have a good night, everyone. Take it easy. Pardon me. And cherish the small things. Especially you, Brian. Who's live right now?